Hey friends, welcome back to College Sports Corner. I'm Barry. Boy, what a Saturday we had, even a couple days before Friday and Thursday. We had some shocking moments, surprising moments, downright upsets. Overall, I thought it was a great Saturday. We had a lot of good games. Some of them started off kind of slow, teams knocking the rust off, and kind of got boring. Like the Penn State Michigan game, that first half was kind of like, okay. But then it got better and interesting. We got a lot to get to today. Got a lot of headlines and news. I'm going to start off here with the top 25 just came out about an hour ago. In case you didn't see or hear, here it goes. Alabama stays at number one. Georgia moved up to number two. They moved up 3 spots. Ohio State moved up 1 spot to number three. Number four is Oklahoma. They fell 1 spot. I guess that struggle against Tulane they had on Saturday did that to them. Number five, Texas A&M. They moved up 1 spot. Number six, Clemson. They dropped 4 spots after losing to Georgia. Number seven, Notre Dame. They stayed the same place. They didn't move. Notre Dame stayed the same. Hey, there you go. Number eight, Cincinnati. They moved up 2 spots. Number nine, Florida. They moved up 2 spots. Number 10, Iowa State. They dropped 2 spots, I guess having to do with that slow start they had on Saturday. They weren't very impressive in that win. Number 11, Oregon, up 1 spot. Number 12, Iowa, up 6 spots after that beatdown of Indiana. Number 13, Penn State, they're up 7 spots after that battle with Wisconsin. Number 14, USC, they stayed the same. 15, Texas, they moved up 4 spots. 16, UCLA, they weren't even ranked last week, even after they beat Hawaii. Number 17, Wisconsin, dropped 2 spots. Number 18, Utah, up 8 spots. Number 19, Coastal Carolina, they're up 5 spots. Number 20, Ole Miss, they're up 5 spots. 21, Va-Tech, they weren't even rated last week. And then after what they did in North Carolina Friday night, that did it. 22, North Carolina, they fell 13 spots. 23, Oklahoma State, they're down 1 spot. 24 is Miami, they dropped 8 spots after Alabama had their way with them. And rounding it out, number 25, Arizona State, they are up 3 spots. So there's your top 25. You know that's going to change a week from now and throughout the whole season. So there you go. All right, let's get some news. I think everybody knows Lane Kiffin didn't coach last night due to COVID, but they still didn't have any problems. UConn, Randy Edsall, after that loss to Holy Cross on Saturday, he said he was going to retire at the end of the season. Well, something changed in the last 24, 36 hours because now he's stepping down. He's no longer a head coach at Connecticut. Defensive coordinator Lou Spanos is going to take over. He's going to be the intern coach. Randy Edsall, a lot of you remember his first stint in Connecticut. He had some success there, had some good years. He took him to the Fiesta Bowl one year. And then he took off for what he thought was greener pastures, Maryland. Didn't do very well there. All he did really was put Maryland in these ridiculous BS uniforms that we've been seeing the last several years. I mean, I'm sorry, Maryland fans, but those are just some hideous uniforms your team wears. I'm sorry, but anyway, he's no longer coach there. Got some injuries too. Alabama linebacker Christopher Allen, foot fracture. He's probably out the rest of the season, Nick Saban said. Michigan wide receiver Ronnie Bell out for the season with a leg injury. Minnesota running back Mohamed Ibrahim out of the season for leg injury. We all saw that on Thursday night, I think. Clemson safety Landon Zanders out for the season with a shoulder injury. And Oregon defensive end Kayvon Thibodeau, he left the Fresno State game with a left ankle injury. They're saying the x-rays are negative, so he's probably going to play this Saturday against Ohio State, which is good for them because they're going to need him. And that's all the injuries I found. Hey, all you guys that got injured, best wishes to you. I know it sucks for you. It sucks for us because we don't get to see you play. So we're hurting right there with you. Georgia head coach Kirby Smart says he's got a COVID outbreak in the Bulldog team, even though more than 90% of them are vaccinated. That just shows you how crazy this damn disease is and it's screwing up the world right now. So hopefully we can get rid of this thing soon one day. 6 FCS teams beat FBS teams this last weekend. Pretty amazing for them. Eastern Washington over UNLV. South Dakota State over Colorado State. UC Davis over Tulsa. That kind of surprised me. Eastern Tennessee beat Vanderbilt. I guess they're pretty much in a rebuilding year, so might be a tough year for them. But they got a new coach. Hopefully, they can get that thing turned around. Holy Cross beat UConn. We just mentioned the Randy Edsall story. Montana beat Washington. That one shocked the hell out of me. I don't know what's going on there at Washington. Here's a pretty cool stat that happened over the weekend. Presbyterian quarterback Ron Heffley passed for 538 yards and 10 touchdowns in their win over St. Andrews, which, by the way, they won 84-43. That's a pretty cool stat. Who knows when that'll happen again? Heck, the way college football goes, it may happen this weekend. All right, Friday night's games. Virginia Tech beat North Carolina by 7. I really thought North Carolina would win this game. Their quarterback was his name, Sam Howell. He's a pretty good quarterback. He had a pretty good year last year. I figured he would come into this year and really get the Tar Heels rolling. He might still do that, but it did start it off with a stumble this year. But, hey, it's first game. Who knows? Tech defense had 6 sacks and 3 interceptions in that game, but they still allowed 354 yards from North Carolina. North Carolina only had the ball for 9 minutes in the first half. I mean, that's crazy. 9 minutes. That's all they had. Oh, man. How he was forced to hang on to the ball because Tech's secondary was just all over his receivers. He couldn't get rid of it. And because of that, he was sacked 3 consecutive plays in a row. I can't tell you the last time I saw that happen. That's just crazy. Even Mac Brown said, hey, we were overrated. We play overrated. That's one thing I love Mac Brown. He's going to be honest with you, whether the media or whoever. The Charlotte 49ers beat Duke. That was their first win over a Power 5 team. Congratulations to you, Charlotte. Charlotte's quarterback just had his way with the Duke secondary. They just didn't play very well. So good for you, 49ers. Wake Forest had no problem with Old Dominion. They won by 32 points. Eastern Michigan took care of St. Francis, Pennsylvania. Kansas, hey, they got their first win of the season. They beat South Dakota by 3. Hey, Kansas, be happy about that. It's a win. There's a lot of FBS teams right now, big-time teams that don't even have a win. LSU, Wisconsin, Washington. So be happy with that and build on that. Michigan beat Northwestern by 17. That one, I can't say I was really surprised by that. Northwestern lost a lot. And Spartans running back, Kenneth Walker, he ran for 264 yards and 4 touchdowns. He ran all over Northwestern's defense. Michigan State, they brought in 20 transfers in the offseason. It looks like it's helping them. See how it goes for the rest of the year. Like I said, Northwestern lost some key players, and it showed bad. Colorado beat Northern Colorado by 4 TDs after Colorado went off to a slow start. Okay, this one here. South Dakota State goes into Fort Collins and beats Colorado State. That one really didn't surprise me too much. South Dakota State went all the way to the FCS championship game last spring, barely lost it to Sam Houston. They're a great team. And Colorado State, they're just they're cruising along there, middle of the road, They need to get some things going there. Jackrabbit quarterback Chris O'Donnell, I guess that's how you say it, passed for 224 yards and 2 touchdowns and ran for another. This one really didn't surprise me too much. Maybe it surprised some of you, but, All right, Saturday, Army beat Georgia State by 33, I'm sorry. Boston College had no problem with Colgate. They shut them out 51-0. Nebraska bounced back and beat Fordham 52-7. That'll get some people off Scott Frost's back at least for another week. Holy Cross beat UConn by 10. I actually had this game on the iPad when I was watching TV on the big screen. It was a pretty entertaining game. It was back and forth. But Holy Cross pulled it out, and there goes the story with Randy Edsall. Kentucky had no problem. Louisiana Monroe won by 35. Penn State over Wisconsin by 6. I was really looking forward to this game. And for a lot of it, the defensive battle was, oh, man, that is awesome. Check this out. This is awesome. But by halftime, I was like everybody else. I was like, wonder what else is on. And I know that sounds sad being a college football fan, but you want to see some scoring, even though it was a great defensive battle. But both teams finally found the rhythm in the second half and started moving the ball better than they did. Finally started scoring some points. Wisconsin, they struggled in the red zone all day. They had a field goal block, 2 fumbles, turnover on downs, false start on the 2-yard line. It's like they started moving that ball as soon as they got to the 20. It's like hit a brick wall. Penn State defense, they played great the entire game. Wisconsin had the ball. Yeah, get this. Wisconsin had the ball. I'm not lying to you. I'm not blowing smoke up your butt. You know that. They had the ball 41 minutes in that game. 41 minutes. I mean, if you don't believe me, go look it up. There's Google right in front of you. I mean, that's just crazy how that worked out. Kansas State beat Stanford by 17. I don't know what's going on over there at Stanford. David Shaw, he's a great coach. He'll right that ship somehow, or I don't know. Rutgers, no problem with Temple. They won by 47. OU beat Tulane only by 5. This game turned out to be a lot better than I thought it was. I know Tulane was going to come in, played inspiring, everything that's happened back home. I figured they would give them a good game, but I had no idea it was going to be a game like this. Late in the game, OU pulled ahead, but Tulane, they fought back. They fought all the way back, and it came down to a last possession where I think they got stopped trying to get a first down, and that was it for the game. Lincoln Riley said that they got outplayed and outcoached. I agree with that. Michigan beat Western Michigan by 33. Oregon defeated Fresno State by a touchdown. That's when we told you that Thibodeau got hurt in, one of their key star players. I figured this was going to be a good game. I didn't know it was going to be that good a game. I figured Fresno State would stay with them, but I didn't know it was going to be that close of a game. Okay, what's next here? Air Force, no problem with Lafayette, winning by 3 touchdowns. Arkansas beat Rice, but Rice played a very good game until Arkansas scored 21 points in the fourth quarter, and of course it comes unraveled then. But hey, congratulations, Rice. Y'all played a good game. One of the big games, Alabama 44, Miami 13. A lot of people on TV thought Miami had a chance to, if not win, but keep it really close because they're all praising how good Miami's going to be this year. And what's the quarterback's name? King, how good he is. And it just didn't work out. Bama's defense played lights out. Their offense was impressive. Miami couldn't get anything going. Against Bama's defense, it was just like they just hit a brick wall, and that was about it. Hurricanes, they really struggled on third down. And this is Nick Saban's 80th win in a ranked versus ranked matchup. So if you are an Alabama fan, that's pretty cool. And Nick Saban, congratulations to you. Iowa, boy, they beat down Indiana by 4 touchdowns. I figured this would be a better game than it was, but Iowa just dominated from start to finish. Indiana couldn't really get anything going against Iowa's defense. They were just too strong. Indiana's quarterback, poor guy, when he dropped back in the pocket, he was uncomfortable all day. He's just because defense was just hammering him all day. Iowa defensive back, Riley Moss, he had 2 pick sixes in that game. So congratulations to you, Riley Moss. Pretty good performance. Cincinnati beat Miami of Ohio by 35. Marshall over Navy by 42. That's kind of sucks when the Service Academy gets beat. They fight for our country. You want them to win, but oh well. Maryland over West Virginia by 6. Maryland has some big plays on offense and defense. Maryland quarterback Talia Tagalua, I guess that's what's his name's brother, threw for 332 yards, and 3 touchdowns. West Virginia turned the ball over 4 times. That's hey, congratulations, Maryland. You have some great looking uniforms. Those throwbacks are awesome looking. Like I said, compared to that crazy crap y'all been wearing the last several years. Missouri wins over Central Michigan by 10. Mississippi State got a scare from La Tech. They only won by 1. Mississippi State jumped out to a 14-0 lead in the first and wouldn't score again until the fourth quarter. La Tech scored 31 unanswered points in that game until Mississippi State came back and scored 21 points in the fourth. It came down to a winning field goal. La Tech could have kicked the winning field goal in the last few seconds and won the game, but they missed it. So Mississippi State wins by 1. And La Tech goes home with, I guess, a moral victory. Wyoming beat Montana State Bobcats by 3. Pitt had no problem with UMass winning by 44. Texas beat Louisiana Lafayette by 20. Raging Cajuns, they were giving Texas a fit until about the third quarter, and then Texas just started kind of walking away with it. Iowa State beat Northern Iowa by 6, and they did not look good doing it. That's probably why they dropped in the polls. I expected more out of that Iowa State team. But like we say, it's the first game. Things change. Penalties get cleaned up. Refs gets knocked off. Mistakes get cleaned up. So they'll probably be back to Iowa State football here in the next week or so. USC beat San Jose State by 23, which I figured that would be a lot better game because San Jose State is a pretty good team. I figured it'd be closer than that margin. Georgia Southern over Gardner Webb by 5. SMU defeated Abilene Christian by 47. SMU scored 42 points in the second and third quarters. Auburn all over Akron 60-10. Bo Nix had 275 yards and 3 touchdowns. Baylor over Texas State by 9. The I-35 showdown. Did any of you watch the Baylor-Texas State game online? All I saw in the comments were people were saying how bad the broadcast was, how it had pixels, what do you call them, and buffering and all kinds of crap going on, and they could hardly see the field. I mean, it was just complaint after complaint after complaint. I didn't tune into it, but just reading all those complaints, a lot of people are pissed off at ESPN for the quality of that game, and I don't blame them because, ESPN, they jacked the price up $1 to watch the games online. If you're going to pay for something, you want a good quality product, and from what I hear, the Baylor-Texas State game wasn't it. Arkansas State won over Central Arkansas by 19. Syracuse beat Ohio by 20. South Carolina shut out Eastern Illinois 46-0 in Shane Beamer's debut. Middle Tennessee beat Monmouth by 35. Oklahoma State beat Missouri State only by a touchdown. Oklahoma State had to stop Missouri State twice on 4th down in the last 2 minutes to win. But I'm sure Mike Gundy, he'll get that thing going in the right direction. Memphis beat Nicholls State by 25. Toledo beat Norfolk State by 39. Toledo returned 2 block punts for TD, so they had some good special teams going on Saturday. Purdue over Oregon State by 9. Purdue played defense better than they have in the past, so I guess that's some good news for them. Troy beat Southern by 52. Texas Tech beat Houston by 17. Houston had a 21-7 lead at the half. I had that one going on the iPad, and then Texas Tech just started coming back and put the game away eventually. Florida over Florida Atlantic by 3 touchdowns. Gators had 400 rushing yards in that game. Northern Illinois beat Georgia Tech by 1. Northern Illinois, 2-point conversion with 38 seconds left in the game. Yellow Jackets moved the ball well, but they just couldn't score at all. North Texas beat Northwestern State by 30. This is a good one here. I like this one because living here in Texas, I root for all the Texas teams. UTSA goes into Illinois and beat the Illini by a touchdown. Good for them. UTSA just started the program 10 or 11 years ago, and they slowly, every year, they've been getting better and building success. So UTSA, the receivers gave the Illinois secondary a lot of fits all night. DBs couldn't keep up with their receivers. Receivers just kept running right past them. That kind of knocked the shine off the Illinois win over Nebraska last week. Bielema's first win. So, but he'll get a lot of wins this year. I think he'll probably take them to a bowl game. But that game for them right there, kind of a little bad news for him. Georgia over Clemson by 7. Both defenses played great. But Georgia's was just so much more aggressive, and Clemson's offensive line, they're just not as good as they used to be. Let's see. Clemson was held only to 2 rushing yards. 2 rushing yards in that whole game. They didn't score until the last 9 minutes of the game. Both teams have issues, but they can both score against a good defense sometimes. So, Virginia shut out William and Mary 43-0. And don't worry, Tribe. Y'all be back and get some wins. TCU over Duquesne 45-3. East Tennessee State over Vanderbilt by 20. Not a good look for the first-year coach Clark Lee over there at Vandy, but think they're in the rebuilding process, so don't get on the guys' back too much. Texas A&M over Kent State by 31. I'm an Aggie fan, so this one had me kind of worried because the Aggies are starting off slow. But then I thought back, last year, I think it was the first game against Vandy. They started off slow too, and look what they did. But still, they need to get that fixed before you start hitting Alabama and all these other good teams in the conference play. A&M really didn't turn on the Jets until about the third quarter. Their new quarterback, Haynes King, he had good numbers, 292 yards, 2 touchdowns. Not too bad for his debut. But he did throw 3 interceptions. And he did overthrow some receivers. So he'll have to get all that fixed before they start getting into some tougher games. Here's this shocker here. Montana over Washington, 13-7. I didn't see this coming at all. I'd expect more and better out of Washington. It didn't happen. Huskies were a 3+ touchdown favorite in this game. But Montana just played great defense. They were all over Washington. 3 of the Husky receivers, big-time play receivers, were out. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it or not. You would think there'd be guys that step up in their place to win, especially over an FCS team, but didn't happen. So people up there in Seattle are kind of pissed right now. South Alabama beat Southern Miss by 24. Here's another one that I don't know if I'm surprised by it, but I don't know. UCLA beat LSU by 11. I expected LSU is one of those teams that, and then they still could be, that I consider coming off the COVID curse. Those guys, Penn State, Wisconsin, and there's several others that they just didn't play their normal football last year. So I call it the COVID curse. They had players out and some of the coaches missing. And, they can still turn this thing around. Well, it's just going to be one of those wait and see things. I think Wisconsin will be off the COVID curse. Looks like Penn State's already off the COVID curse. LSU, we just may have to wait and see on that. LSU, they have busted coverages all over, and plus UCLA's running offense just ran all over them. So, oh boy, what are you going to do, huh? UTEP beat Bethune Cookman by 10. BYU beat Arizona 24-16. Nevada beat California 22-17. San Diego State over New Mexico by 18. Washington State lost to Utah State 26-23. I started watching that game and then kind of conked out and fell asleep. But it was good from what I saw. Hawaii bounced back and beat Portland State by 2 touchdowns in their brand new stadium that nobody could go see a game at because of COVID restrictions over there in Honolulu. But anyway, hey, got a good win in your first win in your new stadium there. Okay, Sunday night. The other day I said that this isn't that classic 93 game. It may have been even better. I was wrong on that point because that was one great game. Notre Dame finally won by 3 in overtime. But wow, that was a game. It was back and forth most of the night. I mean, both teams seemed to play really aggressive, offense and defense just clashing. Notre Dame only rushed for 65 yards. Last year's game against them, they rushed for 353 yards. One of the great stories about this game is Seminoles quarterback McKenzie Milton. He got hurt bad at Central Florida when he played there a few years ago. A lot of doctors said you'll be lucky if you walk again. That guy came into the game and played great. So good comeback story there. Good for him. Hope he has continued success there. Notre Dame quarterback Jackson Cone had 366 passing yards for 4 touchdowns. Good performance for him. I thought Florida State will eventually get to where they were years ago. But from what I saw, it could happen this year. Or it could be that Notre Dame is just going to be a so-so team. That's one of the good things about this first weekend. You can make all these guesses, all these predictions, how things are going to go. But you really don't know until probably the end of September, beginning of October, if your team has a chance or if your team is mediocre or if your team is just trash. It usually takes about 3 to 4 weeks to get into start playing all these teams and even into some conference play a little bit to kind of predict how your team is going to do. So that's why I don't put a lot of weight in all these teams that lost. Like I've said before, first game jitters, knocking the rust off, penalties, all that. Starting this week, see how they've improved. And going into the third week and fourth week and into October, then you're going to get a better idea whether your team is great or your team is trash. So all you teams that lost out there and all you fans, that don't sweat it. It's the first game. Hey, if you're going to lose a game, you want to lose early. And why not the first game? That's probably the best game to lose, even if it is you lose to a top quality team or a lower level team. If you're going to lose, you want to lose the first game at least. All right, last night, Ole Miss over Louisville by 19. As we say, Lane Kiffin wasn't coaching. He's got COVID. He's supposed to be back, or he's hoping to be back next Saturday. Rebel quarterback Matt Corral threw for 381 yards and a TD. Louisville looked like they never got into any kind of rhythm. They was just kind of loosely playing around, and I don't know what's going on there. This is kind of 4 players, 2 from each team, got ejected for targeting. I don't know what to say about that targeting thing. There's a lot of them, the plays you can look at and say, okay, he didn't mean to do that. And then there's a lot of those plays that are just, fragrant, just bam, nail them. So, I don't know if they need to tweak that rule or something, but there are a lot of players that get ejected that don't deserve it, but there's also a lot of players that are getting ejected that do deserve it. So, that's a crazy, funny gray line in that rule there. All right, so, hey, that's it. Have a great weekend. A lot of good football. Thursday, there won't be any games because the NFL is starting, which sucks, but, I guess the NFL rules over college and all that. So Friday, we will preview Friday night. We will preview Saturday's games. Go over any news, headlines, anything like that. That's it. I've wasted enough of your time. I've bored you enough. Your boss is pissed off at you, so you need to get off the internet. Hey, if you like the show, tell your friends, tell your family, subscribe so you don't miss a show. You guys take care, be safe, and we will see you Friday afternoon.